Hi, people of God. The reason why I'm doing this video is to talk to you guys about people telling you to wait. Swift as a serpent, harmless as a dove. A lot of times, God's telling you to move fast, get stuff done, and do it in an appropriate manner. And it's kind of hard to do because a lot of us are suffering from demonic possession, and we have to now study the scriptures and align our actions with the word of God. And that becomes complex, especially when you sitting up there like a newborn Christian. You older in the faith, but yet and still you're a newborn Christian, where you're trying to learn God's will for your life in its entirety and knowing what to do. And other people are like, come on, hurry up. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And you like, hold on. You pushing me a little bit too fast. You going just a little bit too fast. I'm not as mature as you. I'm not on your level. Tell you what, just go ahead of me. Go on and do what y'all gonna do. I got to do it the way I know how to do it. And it's a reason why you were taught a method and a way of doing things. Because this way is your protection way. This way is your safeguard way. And sometimes everybody's not taught to move fast as a serpent or swift. They're taught to move slower. Why? I need you to identify what's going on. If you move fast, you're going to miss it. If you slow down, you're going to catch it. Now, a lot of people looking at you and they say, well, why did you make such decisions and stuff like that? I remember going to school and I'm in college. I'm working and everything, but I couldn't feel like I didn't feel that I was retaining the material I was learning. Everything was moving fast. Come on, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And it wasn't until I said, you know what, I'm going to leave my job for a little while to actually pursue school, finish school, and then move on. When I left the job, I realized that I was held demonic captive. Think about it. I'm in school. I'm struggling to retain material that ultimately impacted me in other areas of my life because I felt like I was being rushed and I wasn't actually being productive or actually being myself. See, a lot of times we don't know ourselves, so we can't sit up there and register certain attacks that people do to try to stop you. Like a person will tell you to stand still and you in the middle of a war. Bombs going off around you, all kinds of stuff happening, and you in the middle of chaos with no covering, no nothing. They say, stand still, God got you. Hold on. Now, I remember I ain't got not nail covering. I ain't got nothing. Yes, I do believe in miracles, but I'm going to go back to Matthew. And we was like in 4 right there. And in Matthew 4, they tell evil spirits, we ain't going to tempt the Lord thy God. Cast yourself down from this mountain, for he will give his angels command over you, and you won't even dash your feet upon the rock because of who you are. You're not going to even dash your feet. And the response was, we will not tempt the Lord thy God. You want to see what he's capable of doing? I'm not going to sit up here and play with God with you. And so now we're in this season where, everybody, like even with me in my life, I'm trying to work. I'm trying to do all these different things. And I start seeing my enemies very clear. Even on working situations, I'm seeing my enemy clear because guess what? They want to hinder you because the more money you have, the more you're capable of protecting yourself, the more you're capable of doing for yourself, the more you're capable of gaining independence. And our God, well, my God, I don't know about y'all, my God is not the God that wants me dependent on him. He wants me to be able to fight alongside him. He wants me, he say, it's good enough for me to be like him. So he wants me to mature in the faith and not just become a subject of the faith, but to actually grow in spiritual maturity. So in order to grow in spiritual maturity, I have to be able to discern his voice from other voices, because although they sound alike, there's a difference. Although they seem like they're protective, one will protect you and the other one will not. One will secure your future and the other will play in your face. So knowing the God that I serve, I get to the point where I say, okay, I got to secure myself. I got to make sure I'm straight. I got to make sure that I'm doing and walking in accordance with God's will. Let me tell you something. The word of God says it's better to eat fruits and vegetables and be amongst people that love you than to eat meat and be amongst your enemies. Fruits and vegetables. Grow your own. It's better for you to grow your own and be amongst people that love you than for you to have meat from the market and be amongst people that don't. So a lot of times I'm going to show you what we're dealing with in this season, because I'm eating my fruits and vegetables, but you all in my garden. I'm eating my Wheaties, my wheat, what I can supply for myself, but you all in my garden, in my business. You don't know how to mind your own. And we're going through what we're dealing with now. We're going through a season where we're under attack no matter what we do, because I have to sometimes go and work. And guess what? The places I'm working ain't sinful places, but the devil's in the building. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? Sometimes we're going into traps because they're trying to take control. They want terrain, authority, dominion. So what that means is that they're going in restaurants, retail stores, the hospitals, wherever you may think it's just basically regular routine places to pretty much work and reside. The enemy is there. They ready to go into warfare. And you're like, well, what am I in warfare for? I mean, come on. This is just this ain't a godly job. But at the same time, it's a job nevertheless. But I'm going to tell you what else you're going through, because they ain't going to break that down to you either. The other thing that you're going through is the fact that you are, how can I put this to you? I'm trying to find a way to actually say it the right way. You are trying to work for the people of God. So you go after Christian positions. You go to work for God-fearing people. And when you go to work for the people of God, you don't get a call back. You're applying to the people of God, but they ain't giving you calls back. They saying, do you believe that Jesus Christ died and was resurrected? And you showed them the whole oath. They want your testimony of how you lived your life. But at the same time, you telling them you are born again and you're trying to fellowship amongst family. but they acting like you strangers to them. And then when you get in the building, you see nothing but demons. And I can understand why it's a stranger situation. But we're in a season where we're going to have to work. Because a man that don't work, don't what? Don't eat. You ain't going to be able to build a garden if you don't work and don't eat. You ain't going to be able to have fruits and vegetables if you don't work, you don't eat. So a lot of times we're dealing with these things, but most people don't understand them. We're dealing with them. We're going to warfare with these things, but most people don't understand them. So I'm gonna make this real clear to you. When you know that you're applying for positions that don't compromise what the Word of God says, you ain't in the script club. Now, if you go in that script club, you eat meat with the enemy. Real talk. We ain't gonna even question whether your morals and your integrity and your character was on point. We already know it went. When you enter into the nightclub, we ain't got to question that. Certain locations is an automatic. You know what time it was. You sitting up there, you working for the lingerie shop. You're working for the liquor store. You're working in all these different places because guess what? The double nectar don't care. And I'm going to tell you something. You can use alcohol for healing. But some of these people ain't using alcohol for to heal nothing. They trying to get turned up, turned out, and onto hoism. Know what you're dealing with. But we're in a season where we have to compare what people are taking us through in accordance with the scripture. Because only you know your situation. So a lot of times your enemy wants you to heed them like they God. See, that's what happened in Genesis. There was things showing up. They angelic angels, they're angelic beings, and they're divine beings and stuff like that God created. And these were his children or whatever the case may be. Or they were regular human beings that just wanted to sit up there and basically say they God over you. How many of you guys right now know that or hearing these people say in your community, say, I'm a God in accordance with the word of God? And not one of you quoted to him, ye say that I say that ye are gods. Not one of you quoted that back to him. Ye say that I say that ye are gods. Because they proclaimed themselves to be God. And it was a biblical proclaiming since the beginning of time. But guess what? They done took so many books out of the Bible that they don't want you to catch on to them. Because right now you're going to be going up under demonic possession and you're going to be blaming yourself. You think that God's plan is not for you to prosper. No, that's the plan of the enemy. We're going to have to go into some hostile terrains. When you sat up there and you watched those slave movies and you saw blackface, but you didn't know your white tail was going to go through that, trust me, it gets real with all of us. You saw blackface, but you didn't know that blackface led to a Hispanic culture or a Arabic culture or an Italian culture or a European culture. Because you saw blackface, you did not connect the dots to say, hey, we need to watch and pay attention to this. This might be a Scottish culture here. We need to we need to watch this, because there's a lot of stuff that's going on that we're not taking into attention. Because believe it or not, the enemy is so bold now against pure-hearted people. Because I finally realized when Martin Luther King says, let's not judge a man by the color of their skin, but the content of their character, their personality, the principles that they stand on. What do you believe in? Where is your faith? I can't judge you off of nothing but your faith. Where is your faith? But now we're dealing with, we're walking up in the job, and the moment we walk up in the job, they ready to keep up conflict. They ready to fight and everything. So you on the job, you fighting for your life. They trying to lock you up. Talking about you a problem for them. I never knew this person like this. They're trying to jump on you while you trying to work. Because they 38 hot. They 38 hot. You trying to figure out what you mad for. What you upset for. And this is terrains that we're going to go into while we're working, while we're going to school, and while we're trying to have. I never understood back while I was a child that they were fighting over territory within a school that I was attending. And I was a little bitty baby, little child, didn't know no better. And I kept wondering why every time I come to school, I got to sit up here and I got to fix one with them. And I ain't even the one trying to cause problems. Every time I come to school, we got to go blow for blow. We got to go round for round. I got to take them down pound for pound. I don't care how I go down. And I'm constantly going through this. And I couldn't understand. I'm like, what is this? What is this? And I couldn't understand that my calling gonna clash in certain areas. But that's where I'm supposed to be. My calling is gonna clash in certain areas, but that's where I'm supposed to be. So now I gotta go to war for my destiny, but I'm too young and immature to understand the warfare that I'm placed in, because I was taught if it's keeping up too much conflict to let it go. That ain't for you. But in this season, I'm realizing that certain things I can't just let it go, because it's for me. It got my name on it, and it's being stolen from me. I have a destiny with my name on it, and you trying to take it from me by any means necessary and incarcerate me or bound me to things that I'm not even supposed to be bound to, because that's not even me, that's you. But our people told us, okay, well, to have peace, you're not going to have war. And I had to learn as I matured, in order to get peace, I got to go into war sometimes. Because you don't understand the peace that I'm trying to inherit. Because my peace, when it's disturbed, because I know my peace doesn't easily get disturbed, because I don't put my peace out for everybody to know, or for everybody to touch or mess with, or to I'm the type, I hold my peace a long time. But when I relinquish it and I get ready for war, you don't understand why. Because you got something that got my name on. And you keep trying to keep problems up because you're holding something that you're not supposed to hold. you stole something, and it wasn't just one thing. You stole many things from me, and you've been getting away with it. And see, these people don't understand. See, they'll come to a person like me and don't know where I came from. See, sweetheart, I tell people this all the time. I grew up in hell. And the reason why I say I grew up in hell, because it was never pleasant for me where I grew up at. I never had peace. I never had peace of mind. I never had anything, really. In order to get something, you got to let a joker know. When I say I had to let a joker know, I will put my hands on you to actually break free of some shackles that was holding me. I had to go to war to break free of those shackles. Because they don't habla. They don't habla. They don't understand. When I say to them, look, I'm a peaceful person. I'm a woman of God. Certain things are not of me. And I got to go to war for that. I got to go to war for that. When you see America say to a joker just like this, America be like, hey, we're a peaceful country. But America even know they got to go to war for that peace. It don't come overnight. It don't come bearing gifts and say, oh, so we fought the fight for you. No. You're going to have to get in them trenches and fight those fights. You're going to have to get on those jobs. And let me tell you something. You're going to get on there. You're going to be tired. You're going to be weary. You're going to go through some things. But anything worth having, you got to be willing to fight for it. And you ain't going to be happy sometimes. And when I say fight for it, a lot of y'all think, oh, you got to physically get into an altercation. You got to physically be aggressive. You got to physically defend yourself. A lot of times, most of my battles are fought with my mouth closed. I'm not going to say nothing to you. I don't have nothing to say to you. You're not in my league. You're not even my breed. I don't get it. You understand what I'm saying? You got people that's higher up. You all the way up here. I'm all the way down here. But you want to come on my level. Baby, be careful how many times you come down to my level, because if you come down to my level, you might stay on my level. I might come up. You can't keep playing games with people's life and thinking that it's okay. And when you tell people this, they be like, what are... I know y'all thinking I'm just rambling on, right? Some of y'all gonna catch it, some of y'all ain't. But what I am gonna tell you, you want to go to school for education, get out there and fight for your education. Because I can tell you from personal experience, I went to college. I left out of college without a degree. Not because I wasn't qualified. Not because I wasn't the best in my class. Not because I couldn't do the situation or do what I'm supposed to do. I left college without a degree because of targeting situations. So a lot of y'all talking about y'all want to go to school, get ready to fight for your education. And when I say, I'm not telling you to go fist fight for it. I'm telling you to strategize and chessboard play and checkmate for it. I'm telling you to outthink your opponent, because I can tell you from personal experience. I had a writing teacher. This isn't even on my record, my transcript. This is a funny thing. I took Comp 2 at my college that I was going to. Comp 2 isn't even on my college transcript. The guy tried to flunk me out on Comp 2. when he did that, I had to go to war for mine, right? Which he still flunked me. But guess what he didn't know? I got proof where I went to the writing lab after I wrote my essay. I got proof when I did my rough draft. I went to the writing lab, had my rough draft overread, proofread by a tutor, corrected, or whatever the case may be, to make sure that I got at least an A and stuff like that. Guess what grades I was getting? C's and D's. I say, well, how is it I'm utilizing the sources, which is the writing lab, and utilizing the sources given to me, but yet and still I'm dealing with a teacher that reflects every assignment that I give to them as a fail. So either I'm failing because the writing lab is like, oh, this is excellent. You got some writing skills there. You good. I would just word this is, and I would take some of the corrective criticism and take care of it, or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, this is what I'm trying to tell you. You're going to have to go to war for your education because they'll flunk you out of school. And you wasn't even the one that was supposed to be flunked out of school. That's why when they come up in your face and they talk about the degrees and you know that you done did all that you can, it don't bother you because you sit up there. You're implementing Jesus, which is the word of God in the flesh. And I did what I was supposed to do. So therefore, anything that you say to me, when you say, oh, well, we got this degree and that degree and you ain't got none, baby, it don't register. I got more credits than a bachelor's degree. I got so many credits. Come on, really? You don't even bother me no more. Baby, I'm on a whole new level. I don't dance with the devil. And that's what they're not getting. So when the time come when the devil start coming to fight me and want to dance, baby, we ain't even, look, baby, I can't compete where I don't compare, baby. I am not a devil. I'm not on your level. I don't compete where I don't compare, baby. Me and you don't compare. We're not in the same league. We're not in the same breed. We don't even do this. What are we competing? What level are you on? Where are we going to compete at? But I still have to fight for what's mom's. Even though we ain't in the same league, same breed or nothing. Catching what I'm saying, people? Okay. We wrestle not against flesh and blood. We ain't fighting against flesh and blood. But we fighting against spirits. We fighting against these bad principles out here. Principles of the darkness, which we going to find when we start to elevate to higher places. So here we are. We're walking into jobs. Oh, baby, I'm on an elevation. I'm about to inspire a nation. So we walking on the job. And here you are. The people on the job saying, we ain't gonna work. We don't work. We don't do nothing. We don't do nothing. I ain't got time to work. I don't care what these niggas say to me. I'm not gonna work. I come here, I get money. I hardly do anything. That's their breed. My breed come in. I'm gonna show you. I come in. We say, look, pay us what we supposed to make. We finna come in here. We finna do the job. Deuce, we out. No disrespect, no harm or nothing. I come in peace. I just want to make my money and go. Do my 8, hit the gate. Do my 8, hit the door. We don't got no drama. We don't need no problems on the floor. Okay. All of a sudden, somebody that ain't even my lead, ain't even my breed, started to get angry. What you mad for? You doing you. Stop watching me do me. What you mad for? You chose your path. I chose mine. Why are you in my business? Are you feeling like you're looking bad? You should. Now, I'm minding my business, doing what I got to do for me and my family. However you do it for you and your fam, that's your business. But let me tell you something. I hurt so bad when I got to come home to my children, my people, and tell them I failed. They ain't even got to chastise me. I take it to heart. Man, I'm about to cry tears right now. That's just how bad it be with me. So mine ain't never got to chastise me because they know I'm going to go hard. I might go through a recession. God knows we be on our back sometimes for a minute. But when I get up, my family ain't never got to chastise me no more about that because I don't never want to be chastised no more about that. But like I said, we're a different breed, baby. And I can't compete where I don't compare. I don't compare to you. Guess what? I'm not even in your league. I don't compare to you because you all the way up here. But I'm down here, baby. I'm a peasant right now. I'm down here. I'm not even on your level. I'm at the bottom. You stealing. You ever heard Robin Hood? They be robbing the hood. They talking about something they stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. Right? But Robin Hood is doing the reverse of that. They robbing the poor, giving it to the rich. Talking about they gonna stay rich. That's how the game go. So we've been dealing with that for centuries up in the hood, for real. For real. This is part of the reason why half of our young girls are docile. They kind of out of it. They can't register certain stuff. They got all this foolishness going on with them and stuff like that. That's part of that. I don't want to speak on it, but I preach on it. But that's what's really going on. So now we're dealing with that. On top of dealing with that, we're dealing with them taking from us because they don't want us with money. Why don't they want you with money? Because you know what to do with it. They sitting up there telling, y'all don't know what to do with no money. And when you see them with money, pay attention. Observation mode. Pay attention. Observation mode. Really, go into observation mode. Pay attention to people who are in the hood doing income tax time. Oh, nails did, hair did, everything did. Brand new car rented. Airbnb, yeah, money, spend it. But when they come into contact with people like me, baby, I'm a whole different breed. We didn't come from money. Baby, if I show you what's up under this shicey, baby, I didn't come from money. But I know how to spend it too. I can get hair did, nails did, and everything did. But guess what? Before I spend my money that way, I'm going to make sure everything else is straight. So when you see me decked out, flawed out, it's because I had the extra to spend. But if I don't have it, I ain't finna play no stunts with these people. So, income tax time come. You trying to elevate them. You say, you know what y'all need to do, y'all need to sit up there and try to start talking to somebody at the bank. You got 10 stacks on you. Talk to somebody at the bank. Put your down payment on you a house. I know you're tired of renting these apartments from these people, man. They want a key to your apartment. They want to come in your apartment when they get ready. They want to do all kinds of stupid stuff. You won't never really feel safe in that mug. Go on and put a down payment on you a house, a mortgage. They talking about, you ain't gonna never pay off a mortgage. You ain't gonna never this. Listen to me, and you ain't gonna never pay off for that apartment. So what's the difference? What's the difference? Game recognized game. Either you can sit up there and you can make moves that's gonna better establish you, but that's 10 stacks gone. I ain't gonna be able to spend nothing. If all you had was 10 stacks and you flipped it into a house, you got land, you got a house. All you paying is taxes. So you put up a couple of dollars every month for your taxes. What you mean? What you going through? But they ain't on that level. You see what I'm saying? That breed ain't mine. You get what I'm saying? That breed ain't mine. Some of that stuff come up out of us. And we be preaching and teaching to them, but some got them bound. All I can do is preach and teach to you to it loose you. And I know what I'm preaching to you, you got, because you my breed. But at the same time, it's up to you to use it. Let me tell you something. Right now, they ain't wanted us with financial aid. They ain't want us with scholarships. I went and signed up for a scholarship at the workforce office, right? I wanted to do CDL driving, and I wanted to go to school for RN. And, and computer techs. Three trades that I really was interested in. I wanted to learn how to do computers. The woman say, do you have any experience in computers? No, I don't have any experience in computers. That's why I go to school for it. Do it look like I'm supposed to have experience in something I'm trying to go to school for? Then what I'm going to the school for? I'm sorry, that's the hood in me, right? But sometimes I get ratchet. But that's a true story. So she says, well, do you have any experience in nursing? Nope, I don't have no experience in nursing. Now these is like 2-3 years apart. Or a year apart. However, 2 months, whatever. They ain't that far apart, these 3 visits I made. So, however, I said to her, I say, no, I don't have no experience. I come back again. I'm trying to do nursing. I say, well, I really want to do nursing. That's a woman's profession, because I'm thinking they got like this man-woman thing with these people around here in my community where they feel like a woman has to stay within a certain profession to actually be a woman. But a man can do anything. So I went to him, I said, well, I want to do nursing. She was like, do you have experience in nursing? No. But I want to do nursing. Can I do nursing? You said I couldn't do the IT because I had no experience in IT, which I don't know how you want to pick up experience in IT without already having the certifications and the qualifications for that. So now I said nursing, but you don't have the certifications and the qualifications to become a nurse. You don't have any experience in that. I said, okay. We come back again. I say, well, I want to be a CDL driver. Do you have any experience in driving? I have a driver's license. I have my permits for my CDL. What else do I need? And I don't even think I had the permits then. I say, but I got a driver's license. You know, most people don't understand this. I ain't even said, you know what? I didn't even say I had a driver's license. I say, no, I don't have any experience driving for a company. I think that was the question. I said, no, I don't have experience driving for a company. And she was like, well, you can't do this. You can't do that. You can't do nursing. You can't do computers. You can't do CDL driving. I said, okay, no problem. Now, this one is going to get ugly, because when they start denying you for stuff that you know they supposed to approve you for, they supposed to approve you for those type of things, scholarships, grants, education type stuff. You're supposed to automatically get approved for it. They didn't want to do that. So I say, okay, I'm good. I'm going to just get it on my own. I'm good. You ain't got to never approve me. I'm going to just get it on my own, right? So I started applying for jobs. Guess what the jobs want to do? Cost of economy is like $24 an hour. The cost of our economy right now is still up to like just to basically survive in like a boarding house or whatever the case may be, or a small room or whatever. You're going to need about 24, 25 an hour to actually be able to do that. They're looking at you. They only want to pay you 18. Now, let's go down a little bit more. Certain jobs I expect 18. Certain jobs I would never accept $18 an hour for, because of the demand, because of the privilege, because of certain things that's connected to it. I would never ever introduce a person and tell them $18 an hour. But you know what it is? Because you know we're a different breed now. You know we don't steal. You pull them kind of junky stunts. Because if a joker stole, you wouldn't pull it. If a joker was the type of joker to sit up there and steal social security numbers and do all kinds of illegal stuff, you wouldn't have pulled no junky stunt talking about you ain't gonna pay us fair wage. But because you know what type of breed you dealing with, because we the people of God, you pull them stunts. And the next one you pay a high wage to, because you can throw up in their face. Well, we were paying them a high wage, you say $30 an hour, $28 an hour. We paid them a pretty fair wage. That seems to be a pretty fair wage, $30 and $28 an hour. Pretty fair wage in our time. And they'll say, well, at least in our communities, a pretty fair wage is more than what they're paying some and stuff like that. So they had no reason to do what they did when you know that was their motive, to come and steal from you. So you didn't have a problem giving them a high wage so that you could just say, oh, well, they were going to steal anyway. But when it comes to our breed of people with principles and standing on business and standing on the word of God, you treat different. We walk in, oh, we can give you minimum wage, $14 an hour, but we have access and privilege to certain systems, certain people identification and everything. Oh, we're not worried about you because we know you don't steal because you're people of God. We worry about the other ones. That's why we pay them more. True story. Now, I could become predatory and use you niggas like me. But I ain't going to become predatory. I'm going to sit over here with my vegetables with Jesus and hit you with this Jesus piece. Because it's ticking me off, but I'm going to roll with Jesus. Knowing that all things going to work together for my good. But this is the type of stuff I be talking about in the hood. They rob from the poor, get to the rich, and then want to ask questions why you got issues. I don't even know, man. I don't even know. I just feel like somebody stole my piece. That's all I'm going to say about that. But remember what I told you. In every arena, every atmosphere, we're fighting in dimensions. You're not just fighting where you at. You fight in dimensions. And when you start to wake up and remember that you're fighting in dimensions, because you're going to see the dimensions. You're going to see the levels. Okay, I'm fighting for God in this dimension. And I see number demons attacking. And then I get to the next dimension and I see the victory of God in that dimension. And it's like both of them are playing like this. Let's say one side God, one side the devil. And you've been attacked by the devil, but you're standing for God and you're standing on business. And now God is able to act in another realm on your behalf. And if honestly, honestly, I gotta be honest about this. If I wasn't given the gift to know, I would already crashed out. Y'all can probably tell that in this video. I would already crashed out. Real talk. Standing on business. I would already crashed out. But for some weird reason, guys, just like, no, just keep doing what you got to do. Because it gets real for all of us. But I say this to say it because guess what? The person that robbed them for the Social Security identities and all this different stuff, guess what? They was treated the same way I was treated. Only difference, they had money. Because they didn't value me and they didn't value them either. But like I said, because we different breeds, because when we meet up on the job, you're a whole different breed from me. So we don't really mingle. We don't get along. I'm not hanging in your atmosphere. I'm doing what I got to do. And you looking at me because you can't stand me because I'm doing my job. But to be totally honest, bro, I ain't even your problem. I ain't even your problem. Deal with your problems. Don't come after a man that ain't coming after you. Don't come after a woman that ain't coming after you. You trying to make more problems than you have to deal with. Because trust me, if you only seen your problems, you wouldn't even deal with them in this manner. But to each man its own, because like I told you, I got my own problems. They paid you 30, they paid me 14. When they paid me my 14, I had to make it scratch with no ways of making it scratch. Sometimes I got to take on 2 jobs just to make it 28. And you didn't even get it. But you was already given what I needed. Now that's part of my benediction. And I'm waking up to that. So you know how bad it is. Anyway, I got to get up out of here. Got another job interview to do. God bless.